Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Chhath Puja. Coming up in the next hour, PM Modi to deliver his remarks virtually at ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur in the afternoon. Thailand and Cambodia signed historic peace agreement in Malaysia in Trump's presence. US President also signs economic deal with both nations along with Malaysia. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says framework set for Trump-Xi meet later this week. Timor-Leste becomes 11th member of ASEAN bloc. East Timor PM calls it historic. PM Modi extends Chhath Puja greetings to countrymen in his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat. Hails Operation Sindoor, urges everyone to participate in 150th year celebration of India's national song Vande Mataram. World leaders gathered in Kuala Lumpur as Malaysia is hosting world leaders for the 47th ASEAN Summit. ASEAN is central to India's Act East policy, serving as a cornerstone for economic, strategic and cultural engagement across the Indo-Pacific. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to join the ASEAN-India Summit virtually. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Modi spoke with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and extended greetings on Malaysia's assumption of the ASEAN chairmanship. He conveyed best wishes for the successful conduct of the ASEAN-related summits under Malaysia's leadership. PM reaffirmed India's commitment to further strengthening the ASEAN-India Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. India and ASEAN will look to strengthen cooperation in maritime security, counter-terrorism and cybersecurity, expedite the ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement to make it more effective and user-friendly, promote diverse, secure, transparent and resilient supply chains, cooperation in humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, peacekeeping measures, cooperate on emerging technologies including AI, blockchain, Internet of Things, robotics, quantum computing, 6G, boost people-to-people ties with 2025 designated as the ASEAN-India Year of Tourism. And Asia's youngest nation, East Timor, became the 11th member of the Southeast Asian bloc ASEAN at its summit on Sunday after being signed in by leaders of member states. East Timor, also known as Timor-Leste's joining, was formalized by ASEAN leaders at the opening of their annual summit in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday, where applause rang out as East Timor's flag was placed on the stage. East Timor's accession to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations follows a 14-year wait. In an emotional speech, East Timor Prime Minister Xanana Gusmao said it was a historic moment for his country with a new beginning that would bring immense opportunities for trade and investment. He said East Timor's accession is a testament to the spirit of its people, a young democracy born from our struggle.
Timor-Leste has been admitted as the 11th member state of ASEAN. For the people of Timor-Leste, this is not only a dream realized, but a powerful affirmation of our journey. On behalf of the government and people of Timor-Leste, I extend our deepest gratitude to all ASEAN member states, to the ASEAN Chair, the ASEAN Secretariat, and our dialogue partners.
Malaysian PM Anwar Ibrahim welcomed East Timor to the ASEAN family and said it reaffirmed the ASEAN members' shared destiny and deep sense of regional kinship.
To President Ramos Horta, Prime Minister Xanana Gusmao, its place here completes the ASEAN family, reaffirming our shared destiny and deep sense of regional kinship. Within this community, Timor-Leste's development and its strategic autonomy will find firm and lasting support.
Earlier, US President Donald Trump arrived in Malaysia on Sunday on the first leg of an Asian tour. In Malaysia, Trump is due to attend the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit. Trump is also expected to meet Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit. The highlight of the Trump's visit is expected to be South Korea, where Trump will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday for the first time since his return to office. Trump is due to land in the southern port city of Busan on Wednesday ahead of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit and will meet South Korean President Lee Jae-myung. Trump is also expected to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for the first time since 2019. Thailand and Cambodia leaders signed expanded ceasefire deal in the presence of US President Donald Trump. The leaders of Thailand and Cambodia signed an enhanced ceasefire deal in the presence of US President Donald Trump, who intervened in July to bring an end to their deadly 5-day border conflict. It builds on a truce reached 3 months ago after Trump called the then leaders of the two countries and urged them to end hostilities or risk putting their respective trade talks with Washington on hold. The two countries, in a joint declaration, committed to establishing an ASEAN observer team, military de-escalation and removal of heavy weapons from their border area, with Thailand agreeing to release 18 Cambodian prisoners of war if the measures were implemented. They also agreed to coordinate on removing landmines, which were the trigger for the fighting after a Thai soldier was maimed during a border patrol. The agreement was signed soon after Trump's arrival at a summit of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations in Kuala Lumpur. Speaking on the occasion, Trump called the two leaders courageous and said the truce he brokered saved millions of lives. US President Donald Trump held a bilateral meeting with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim in Kuala Lumpur on the sidelines of the ASEAN Regional Bloc Summit. The White House released statements following the meeting, saying the two countries had reached agreements on reciprocal trade and critical minerals. Malaysian Trade Minister said US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, who was involved in drafting the agreements, was tough but fair. Trump also signed an agreement with Cambodia on reciprocal trade and a US deal with Thailand on critical minerals during a regional summit. US President Donald Trump announced on Saturday that he's increasing tariffs on Canadian goods by an additional 10% in response to a Canadian ad featuring late US President Ronald Reagan. Trump announced the higher tariffs in a Truth Social post on Saturday, referring the ad, which features a video of former President Ronald Reagan. Trump called the advert a fraud and lashed out at Canadian officials for not removing it ahead of the World Series Baseball Championship. Trump said, because of their serious misrepresentation of the facts, I'm hostile act and in fact an hostile act. I'm increasing the tariff on Canada by 10% over and above what they are paying now. Trump posted the message while he was aboard Air Force One on his way to Malaysia, the first stop on a trip through East Asia that will largely focus on trade issues. The announcement came 2 days after Trump said he had terminated all trade talks with Canada over what he called the fake ad campaign. President Trump on Saturday said Hamas needs to start returning the bodies of deceased hostages quickly to ensure that everlasting and strong peace is maintained in Gaza. Trump said that he will be observing the actions of Hamas for the next 48 hours and see whether they return the bodies of the hostages, which can the deceased hostages, in fact, which can be reached. Trump wrote in a Truth Social post that some of the bodies are hard to reach, but others they can return now, and for some reason they are not. Perhaps it has to do with their disarming, but when I said both sides would be treated fairly, that only applies if they comply with their obligations. While all the living hostages have been returned from Gaza, the remains of 13 deceased hostages have not been handed over by Hamas. Meanwhile, Israeli forces said on Saturday it had carried out targeted strike on an individual in central Gaza who was planning to attack Israeli troops. The IDF in a social media post said that it conducted a precise strike in the Nusrat area in central Gaza, targeting a terrorist from the Islamic Jihad terrorist organization who planned to carry out an imminent attack against IDF troops. The IDF further stated that Israeli troops in the Southern Command are deployed in the area in accordance with the ceasefire agreement and will continue to operate to remove any immediate threat. President Trump on Saturday thanked Qatar's Emir and Prime Minister for being a big factor in helping secure a Gaza ceasefire deal. US President Trump met with the Emir of Qatar, Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani on board Air Force One during a refueling stop at Al Udeid Air Base near Doha. Trump said the duo had played a crucial role in the Middle East peace process, adding that Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani had been his friend to the world. Qatar has played a key mediating role in indirect talks between Israel and Hamas since the outbreak of the conflict and is among the guarantors of the Gaza peace deal along with Egypt, the United States and Turkey. The US government shutdown is now on day 25 with no resolution in sight as both sides remain entrenched in their positions over the second longest funding lapse in history. The Senate adjourned on Thursday and won't return until Monday afternoon, meaning the impasse is all but certain to stretch into next week. The upper chamber has failed to advance a GOP funding bill 12 times, most recently on Wednesday. More than 40 million Americans are at risk of going without food assistance benefits at the end of the month if the shutdown continues. The US Department of Agriculture said on Saturday that food benefits under one of country's biggest social assistance programs will not be issued next month amid the ongoing federal government shutdown. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said trade talks held with China and Malaysia over the weekend have set the stage for a meeting between President Donald Trump and President Xi Jinping later this week. He also said that officials from the United States and China have set a very positive framework after 2 days of negotiations concluded in Malaysia. But Bessent stressed that any extension of a trade truce agreed when US President Donald Trump meets Chinese Premier Xi Jinping in South Korea would be President Trump's decision. China's top trade negotiator Li Chenggang and Vice Premier He Lifeng met with US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit on Sunday, seeking to avert an escalation of their trade war. Workers in Jamaica's capital, Kingston, spent Saturday filling sandbags and stocking up on supplies as Hurricane Melissa continued its approach toward the island. Workers and the business owner were seen loading sandbags into pickup trucks, while residents filled fuel canisters in last-minute preparations. Drone images showed strong winds affecting the shoreline of Harbour View, a coastal neighborhood east of downtown Kingston. As per the U.S. National Hurricane Center, Hurricane Melissa has strengthened into a Category 3 storm. Travelers at an airport in Jamaica were seen leaving early ahead of Hurricane Melissa's arrival, with some cutting their vacations short. Hurricane Melissa is rapidly strengthening and is expected to approach Jamaica and Hispaniola early in the week, bringing heavy rain, coastal flooding and strong winds. Jamaica's Meteorological Service Director said the storm is expected to make landfall as a Category 4 hurricane on Tuesday, with winds of 130 to 156 miles per hour lasting for 5 days. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Vice President of India C.P. Radhakrishnan on a 2-day visit to Seychelles. After the break, we will get you more updates on the resumption of operations on T2 terminal of New Delhi's International Airport.
Sometimes even the smallest things like changing our food habits or nurturing a patch of land or rethinking our relationship with the animals around us can spark a transformation that reaches way beyond ourselves.
Neighborhood Group joined forces with the local cafe to launch Feeding Forward, a program that distributes surplus food to street dogs. The idea is to reduce both waste and animal aggression.
Familial Forestry emphasizes that we are ready to own a responsibility to nurture that particular tree like a green member of family.
Our vision for this is to have every rooftop in Chennai covered by a vegetable green garden.
Sindhu's solution is a fresh salad delivery service called Salada. She and her husband have created 10 jobs and serve over 3,000 customers in Chennai.
You're watching DD News Hour. I'm Chhath Bharatwaj. In his first overseas visit since assuming office, Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan emplaced for Seychelles to attend the swearing-in ceremony of President-elect Dr. Patrick Hamini. Seychelles is an important partner under India's Mahasagar vision for bolstering relations across the Indian Ocean and in the country's commitment to the global south. During the visit, Vice President Radhakrishnan will convey India's felicitations to Hamini and reaffirm the close, long-standing and time-tested relations between the two countries. The visit is expected to reaffirm the close, long-standing and time-tested ties between India and Seychelles, spanning cooperation in security, development and maritime affairs. Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport reopened its upgraded Terminal 2 on Sunday. The upgraded terminal aims to offer passengers a smoother, faster and more comfortable journey featuring new technologies and modern facilities. One of the biggest additions to the terminal is the self-baggage drop system, allowing passengers to check in their luggage independently, reducing waiting time at counters. The terminal now features 6 new passenger boarding bridges for faster boarding and deboarding. It also includes virtual information desks, clear wayfinding signage and improved facilities for persons with reduced mobility to make travel more inclusive. The terminal also features modern fire safety systems, a high-resolution flight information display system and redesigned airside areas for smoother aircraft movement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged citizens to join the Unity Run, marking Sardar Patel's 150th birth anniversary, and encouraged them to learn about tribal leaders Birsa Munda and Komram Bhim.
A prominent figure in modern India and a significant personality in the nation's history, has exhibited exceptional intelligence and a strong work ethic from an early age. He earned recognition as a lawyer, but inspired by Gandhiji, he gave up all his pursuits and devoted himself to the cause of freedom. He played a crucial role in movements like Khera and Borsad. Additionally, he set examples of unity, cleanliness and good governance in the country. PM Modi urged people to join the Unity Run on Sardar Patel's 150th birth anniversary on 31st of October during his Mann Ki Baat program.
सरदार पटेल जी की 150वीं जयंती का दिन पूरे देश के लिए एक बहुत विशेष अवसर है। उप प्रधानमंत्री और गृह मंत्री के रूप में उनके योगदान के लिए हम सभी सदैव उनके ऋणी रहेंगे। साथियों, सरदार पटेल ने भारत के ब्यूरोक्रेटिक फ्रेमवर्क की एक मजबूत नींव भी रखी। देश की एकता और अखंडता के लिए उन्होंने अद्वितीय प्रयास किए। मेरा आप सबसे आग्रह है, 31 अक्टूबर को सरदार साहब की जयंती देश भर में होने वाली रन फॉर यूनिटी में आप भी जरूर शामिल हो और अकेले नहीं, सबको साथ लेकर के शामिल हो। एक प्रकार से युवा चेतना का ये अवसर बनना चाहिए। एकता की दौड़ एकता को मजबूती देगी। ये उस महान विभूति के प्रति हमारी सच्ची श्रद्धांजलि है, जिन्होंने भारत को एकता के सूत्र में पिरोया था।
In Mann Ki Baat address, PM Modi also mentioned Komram Bhim, a young man who stood up against the atrocities of Nizam of Hyderabad during the colonial era. Bhim resisted the Nizam's oppression of farmers and became a symbol of strength, inspiring countless others in their struggle against his oppressive rule.
उस दौर में जब निजाम के खिलाफ एक शब्द बोलना भी गुनाह था, उस नौजवान ने सिद्दीकी नाम के निजाम के एक अधिकारी को खुली चुनौती दे दी थी। निजाम ने सिद्दीकी को किसानों की फसलें जब्त करने के लिए भेजा था, लेकिन अत्याचार के खिलाफ इस संघर्ष में उस नौजवान ने सिद्दीकी को मौत के घाट उतार दिया। वो गिरफ्तारी से बच निकलने में भी कामयाब रहा। निजाम की अत्याचारी पुलिस से बचते हुए वो नौजवान वहां से सैकड़ों किलोमीटर दूर असम जा पहुंचा। साथियों, मैं जिस महान विभूति की चर्चा कर रहा हूं, उनका नाम है कोमरम भीम। अभी 22 अक्टूबर को ही उनकी जन्म जयंती मनाई है। कोमरम भीम की आयु बहुत लंबी नहीं रही। वो महज 40 वर्ष ही जीवित रहे, लेकिन अपने जीवन काल में उन्होंने अनगिनत लोगों, विशेषकर आदिवासी समाज के हृदय में अमिट छाप छोड़ी।
PM Modi announced that November 15 will be celebrated as Tribal Pride Day on the occasion of Lord Birsa Munda's birth anniversary. Birsa Munda's contribution to India's freedom and the rights of tribal community is unparalleled. He urged the youth to learn more about Lord Birsa Munda, Komaram Bheem, and many other eminent figures from the tribal community. Bureau Report, DD India.
And this year on 7th of November, India will mark the 150th anniversary of Vande Mataram. In his Mann Ki Baat address, Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged citizens to share their suggestions for various events to be held across the country to mark the occasion. Prime Minister also highlighted the growing popularity of the Sanskrit language among youth across the country.
The song Vande Mataram evokes a surge of emotions in the hearts of every citizen bowing down before the country. Prime Minister Modi, while referring to the national song in his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat, said that the Vande Mataram fills 140 crore Indians with the energy of unity. Prime Minister said that on November 7th, the country will celebrate the 150th anniversary of Vande Mataram. Many programs will be organized across the country on this occasion. Prime Minister appealed to the countrymen to share their suggestions with hashtag Vande Mataram 150 to make this occasion historic.
साथियों, वंदे मातरम के गान में करोड़ों देशवासियों ने हमेशा राष्ट्र प्रेम के अपार उफान को महसूस किया है। सुजलाम सुफलाम मलयज शीतलाम शस्य श्यामलाम मातरम वंदे मातरम। हमें ऐसा ही भारत बनाना है, इसलिए हमें वंदे मातरम के 150वें वर्ष को भी यादगार बनाना है। आने वाले समय में वंदे मातरम से जुड़े कई कार्यक्रम होंगे, देश में कई आयोजन होंगे। मैं चाहूंगा हम सब देशवासी वंदे मातरम के गौरवगान के लिए स्वतः स्फूर्त भावना से भी प्रयास करें। आप मुझे अपने सुझाव #वंदे मातरम 150 के साथ जरूर भेजिए।
Sanskrit is one of the oldest languages, as are ancient scriptures. The Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Puranas, among others, were all written in Sanskrit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stated that the power of social media has revived this language among youth in the modern era.
अब समय बदल रहा है, तो संस्कृत का भी समय बदल रहा है। संस्कृति और सोशल मीडिया की दुनिया ने संस्कृत को नई प्राणवायु दे दी है। इन दिनों कई युवा संस्कृत को लेकर बहुत रोचक काम कर रहे हैं। आप सोशल मीडिया पर जाएंगे तो आपको ऐसी कई रील्स दिखेगी जहां कई युवा संस्कृत में और संस्कृत के बारे में बात करते दिखाई देंगे। कई लोग तो अपने सोशल मीडिया चैनल के जरिए संस्कृत सिखाते भी हैं। भाषा किसी भी सभ्यता के मूल्यों और परंपराओं की वाहक होती है। संस्कृत ने ये कर्तव्य हजारों वर्ष तक निभाया है। ये देखना सुखद है कि अब संस्कृत के लिए भी कुछ युवा अपना कर्तव्य निभा रहे हैं।
As a result, Sanskrit is once again gaining popularity among young people across the country through new mediums. Bureau Report, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended Chhath greetings to people of the country and said that the festival reflects the deep unity of culture, nature and society. Addressing the nation through his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat, the Prime Minister said that Chhath unites every section of the society, calling it a beautiful example of India's social unity.
का महापर्व संस्कृति, प्रकृति और समाज के बीच की गहरी एकता का प्रतिबिंब है। छठ के घाटों पर समाज का हर वर्ग एक साथ खड़ा होता है। ये दृश्य भारत की सामाजिक एकता का सबसे सुंदर उदाहरण है। आप देश और दुनिया के किसी भी कोने में हो, यदि मौका मिले तो छठ उत्सव में जरूर हिस्सा लें। एक अनोखे अनुभव को खुद महसूस करें। मैं छठी मैया को नमन करता हूं। सभी देशवासियों को, विशेषकर बिहार, झारखंड और पूर्वांचल के लोगों को छठ महापर्व की शुभकामनाएं देता हूं।
On to sports news now. India's women's cricket team is set to face Bangladesh women in their last group stage match of the ICC Women's ODI World Cup 2025 in Navi Mumbai on Sunday. Having already secured a spot in the semi-finals, India will aim to conclude the group stage on a positive note. The tournament has been a mix of highs and lows for India as the hosts began with consecutive wins over Sri Lanka and Pakistan. However, later on they faced 3 straight losses to South Africa, Australia and England. India made a strong comeback in their crucial match against New Zealand, winning by 53 runs through the DLS method. India will face table toppers Australia in the semi-finals. And that's all from us now. As we wrap up this edition, we leave you with the visuals from Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour, where the giant inflatable Labubu has become the latest sensation, drawing crowds. Have a look.